Howdy, I'm Mr. Batches123, and welcome to the first tutorial series on Minecraft's Gametest framework. Today's episode will be on storing memory, delays, and running commands. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with basic import here. If you can't spell that, then you're terrible at programming. Alright, so we're going to import world. Hopefully VS didn't break. Okay, we're good. Don't randomly hit buttons, kids. Form. Okay, I can type. Alright, so we're going to import it from mojang-minecraft. If you don't have these typings, yeah, follow the first tutorial. It's been linked in the description, I hope. If not, I'm start screaming. Okay, once we do that, alright, it's like your import is worthless, alright? It's completely worthless. So now we're going to start with an event. Alright, we're going to go back here in a second. Something else. I can actually spell subscribe. That's surprising. Alright, what we're going to do is we're going to put this current tick here. If it'll... I got to put it in quotes also. Okay, now it's happy. Current tick, comma. We don't need delta time. Okay, so now what we got to do is we got to do a try catch here, and then we're just going to do a simple commands run. And then, okay, we're going to use backticks, which creates a template, a literal, and then we're going to pass the variable era into it. So we're going to do say error colon, and then we're going to take the property of error called stack, and then we're going to also pass that. If I can spell stack properly, it would be nice. Okay, so we did that. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to do a test if it's loaded. So we're going to define loaded as let loaded equal false. So we're going to initialize it as false. And then what we're going to do is if not loaded, then commands.run test for a. Now this won't be ticked 24/7 because we're going to then define loaded, or we're going to set loaded to true, and then this won't be true, so this command will never be ran. Now I did forget to do something. We got to actually do world mention overworld. So make sure we paste that in. Okay. Now, if you make it force semicolons, then it'll format it for you. You can do that in settings. Just Google how to make it force semicolons. Okay, now once we do that, now we're going to define some scoreboards. I'm going to do my own try catches here because I want it formatted in one line. Because you shouldn't have to do this. So we're going to create, or no, it's scoreboard adjectives. Sorry, kids. Super adjectives add. We're going to do player count. Now, the things done in this video aren't the recommended thing to do. This is just so you understand somewhat how things are working. It's something simple that you can do pretty quickly and have an understanding of how scoreboards are passed and obtained. It's not complicated, this is pretty easy, but it is something that's important to know. So what we're going to do is we're just going to paste that 2 more times. Alright, we're going to create an adjective called bool, and then an adjective called player. Okay, we're going to change the third one to player. Players, yeah. Add a non-existent, so it's player dummy XQZ. Now we're going to exploit this mechanic of you can shove anything into it and it'll work eventually, but we're not there yet. We're going to add bool. Make sure we capitalize it. Everything is exact sensitive. Or it must be exact case. That's how coding works. Same for those. So we did everything we needed to do there. We're going to do a nice format because it looks nice. You gotta put the semicolons in. Okay, if you don't use semicolons, you're just lame. All right. Okay, now we're going to do a delay every single 5 ticks. So if current tick. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to go back in there, make sure you're in there, and your cursor is where mine is. So we're going to put a percent sign, which is modulus, which means it's division, but it gets the remainder. So we're going to divide that by 5, and then if the remainder equals, make sure we're using strict, because if you're not using strict, you're lame. Also, let's see. Okay, so every time this reaches 5 ticks, or a factor of, every time it's a multiple of 5, then it'll run this. Or every time that this is 0, it'll run it, because if statements. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a player count. Make sure you don't capitalize your const, because that's dumb. The reason why we're using const, because this is not going to be redefined within this scope of these braces here. Now, the reason why this is like a let up here is because this gets redefined here. So if it gets redefined, then it has let, or use let. If it is a constant, then use const. And this let here is outside the scope of anything, and it's within the file sequential scope here. Sequential just means it runs top to bottom. So like the sequential scope of this from these braces would be like line 13, then 14, 15, 16, 17, etc., which is nice. So we're going to create a variable called player count. It's really a constant, but that's more of a variable and that's a constant, but I just call them the same. It's like variable equals memory location. Sometimes it's weird, depends who you're dealing with. You can always ask, is that a constant? Or you could just look at the screen. Now when your brain dies, it's great. So okay, we're going to do world dot get. Yeah, we don't want to do equals world. I mean, you can actually change, you could set that to world and use player count that get dimension or something. Why would you do that? No one knows. Get players. Okay, dot length. Don't worry about get players too much. All it does is returns an array of players with their properties. And if you wanted their name, you could just map it to name tag, but we'll get there eventually. It took me 2 months to release this video, 2.5. So I don't know. Depends how much drive I have to do this. I want to do it. It's just the ability, or just I don't know. Every time I do recordings, I end up rambling and not, I don't know, focusing. So it ends up taking longer than it should, and I don't like the length because I like to keep it under 15 minutes. Alright, so what we're going to do is set player execute player dummy. We're going to copy that from up there, and then we're going to get player count. Alright, now we're going to set that to player count. Technically, you could just shove like this statement here to here, but I don't, there's not much point. Alright, now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to consist bool. Make sure we're in lower camel case. If you or it, I don't really know the difference honestly. Make sure you're in camel case, which is just like the first one is lowercase, and then everything after it is uppercase. So if you do like bool, hello, y, r, u, you get the idea. I don't know. Cool. I don't know. No idea what that means. We're just going to ignore that error. Consist bool equal. There isn't really, like in JavaScript at least, like a specific reason to. It's just like you're not cool. Parse. Now technically here you don't need. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go to this one here. Alright. Now we're actually going to run a command's run here. So scoreboard player set, test. This is how you would just get a scoreboard. You can also get from an add. We're not going to do that today. It's a little, it's getting moderate, like complexity. It's not terrible. I've done worse things. But okay, we're going to test bool. Should capitalize it. It must be equal to this one we defined up here. And then we're going to change that to an asterisk. And then 1, 2, 3. Fixed it. Okay, I was like, what am I doing? Alright, now we got to do is, yeah, we need to paste like a bunch of these. Or like get players. This isn't really that bad of a screw up. I just forget them sometimes, and I'm wondering why it's not working. Then I'm like, oh yeah, I need these. They're pretty important for it to work. They're changing this in like a couple, I don't know, a week or two. So it's gonna be great. Okay, and now all we gotta do is we're gonna do a nice some if logic here. So if bool, so if bool is true, since you're just shoving this within parentheses, the JavaScript thinks that or turns this into, okay, is this defined true? Or if I do this, then is this undefined, false, null, NaN. So if it's defined, it'd just be like 5, an array. Even if it's an empty array, it's still defined. That's an annoying property in some cases, but Okay, now let's run a command. .run. Title a on online, and now we're going to send the variable player count, and then we're just going to copy that. Then we're going to make an else statement. So else, we're just going to copy that. And instead of player count, we're going to do hello. fixing formatting problems. Format document. Should be all semicolons. Alright, now what we're going to do is we're going to load up Minecraft. Alright. So what you load in, if you did it right, you'll see this error. I forgot action bar. So let's go back to VS here. Alright, we need action. Action bar. I have this on my key too. It's just not good. Paste in, or just put an action bar there, and then reload. Take a minute. Make sure you put in the action bar. I forgot to do that. It's on me, but yeah, there we go. On the actual command, so we gotta do that. Status message, status message dot match. So a minus, there we go. Double forward slashes in the middle, I'm doing minus sign, dollar sign, a backslash, a D, and a plus. Make sure you spell, kids. It's very important to learn how to spell. Okay, so there's one player online, and then if I set that to 0, chat lags first time you open it goes to hello, so it's false. And then binary, one's true, so then it goes to player count, and hello. See, it's working, and that's how you parse scoreboards, delay things, and run commands. Yep, that'll be all for this video. I'll see you guys.